Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Girls on Deck. I am back this week feeling 100% better. Thank you so much, Kelly and Hannah Jo, for hosting last week. We have a great show today talking MLB with Johnny Jackson and the NBA All-Star Weekend with Johan Blanco. Girls on Deck starts now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
With football season sadly over, is it finally baseball season or is it not? Not surprisingly, the MLB is still in a lockout, and it was released last week that spring training is officially delayed. To talk about the craziness of this lockout, we are joined by Hitting the Field executive producer, Johnny Jackson. Johnny, how does it feel to be back on the other side of the camera?
It feels great. This is my one official on-air experience of the semester, and I'm very happy that it's on Girls on Deck.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Now let's get right into it, because I know we're dying to talk about it. As many know, the MLB has been in a lockout since December 2nd, and they claim that it was the only option. After last week's announcements of spring training starting no earlier than March 5th, the Major League Baseball Players Association responded with the following statement. MLB announced today that it must postpone the start of spring training games. This is false. Nothing requires the league to delay the start of spring training, much like nothing required the league's decision to implement the lockout in the first place. Despite these decisions by the league, players remain committed to the negotiating process. Johnny, what are your thoughts on the MLB's willingness, or lack thereof, to negotiate throughout this lockout?
I think when Rob Manfred and the owners say that they want to negotiate, and then they waited 46 days after the lockout to even start negotiating, I think that tells you where the priorities lie. Also, the Players Association in this sense is absolutely right. The lockout is literally just a bargaining chip from the owners. There is a provision that allows the baseball season to start with using the same rules of the last CBA without a new one being officially ratified. And so this lockout is only a ploy by the owners. It's a complete PR move to make the players look terrible, when in reality, this entire argument is over less than 5% of league revenues. The entire argument in all of the provisions and everything, it's over 5% of revenue. So for the fact that everything is delayed and we might miss games is insane to me.
Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. And my favorite thing, and I say that with the utmost sarcasm, is how the MLB will make these statements claiming that the Players Association wasn't working with them, they really weren't doing it. And the Players Association is like, no, you were the ones that messed up. You are making this difficult for absolutely no reason. And it's true. Like, there's no reason for all of this. And it's silly to me when I hear that they go to these hotels to do these arguments and then they walk out after only 10 minutes. Like, it boggles my mind. Kelly, what do you think?
I mean, honestly, it hurts me to see you guys as such huge baseball fans having to miss out on something, not because of a pandemic, because of selfish money issues. Like, it hurts me for you guys that you're suffering because this is your favorite sport. This is apparently America's favorite sport, and now we're going without it because they don't want to slide over a couple dollars.
Right. I mean, 2 years after the COVID season,
right,
we're going to have another limited season. So it's super exciting.
Well, you know, one thing both sides have seemed to agree on so far throughout this process is the addition of a universal designated hitter. This is something many baseball fans have been waiting on for years. Are you excited to see this finally being permanently implemented, Kayla?
Oh, absolutely. If that's the one thing they can agree on, that's, again, not enough, not the whole problem, but I love it. I'm excited to see it happen. It should have been implemented a while ago. We saw it during the COVID season, how it really worked, and I would love to see like Chris Taylor take on that role for the Dodgers, I think. I want to know what you think of that, Johnny.
I love the designated hitter. I think pitchers hitting is stupid.
Unless you're Shohei Ohtani.
We've seen multiple pitchers hit and run bases and get injured because it's not their job. Their job is to throw ball hard, get man out. And the designated hitter's job is to hit ball hard, hit ball out of park. DH is wonderful. Pitchers hitting is not wonderful. Keep it forever. As far as the Dodgers specifically go, I think they're a team who would benefit the most because they have like probably 11 position players that are of all-star level. So having that kind of rotating spot to really give guys rest days, give guys half rest days, use the old decrepit Justin Turner in more than like 60 games, that would be wonderful. Love Justin Turner. But he probably should not be wearing a glove that often, ever.
Yeah, no, it's not meant for everybody, which is, again, like you said, why it's so, I think it's something that, again, should have been implemented a while ago, and I'm really excited to see it finally happening now. I think pitchers should not be hitting. It's often boring, like I said earlier, unless you're Shohei Ohtani, who is just good at everything. But that's very, very rare. He's probably the only one in the league right now that's just as good as that. So I am so excited to have that back. Kelly, what do you think?
I mean, the guy you were just mentioning, you said he was good at everything. Do you think he'll still be able to have the opportunity to hit, or do you think because of this new rule, he won't be allowed to at all anymore? And do you think he'll be upset about that?
Yeah, he's in the American League, so that's something that's been, they have a designated hitter, but he's just one of those people that's so good that you just let him do what he does because it's going to work. So a proposal that made headlines last week was Major League Baseball wanting to get rid of hundreds of minor league players. As of now, teams are allowed to have up to 180 players on their minor league rosters, and the MLB wants to reduce it to 150. Johnny, what do you think the motive behind this proposal is? Because it's not like it would really save them a ton of money, considering they barely pay minor leaguers anyway.
It is a terrible proposal. It makes absolutely no sense. Also, the fact that they don't pay minor leaguers pretty much anything doesn't make any sense. I mean, these guys are getting paid $7,000 a year if they're lucky, if they're there for the whole time. They have to go to 2 months of spring training, not getting paid at all. They're not paid from October to March every year. Minor leaguers are treated like little worms that kind of struggle in the dirt to survive. They treat minor leaguers terribly. They need to treat them better. And the fact that they're reducing opportunities for these players is absolutely ridiculous.
And do you think that it might have something to do with the financial aspect of the lockout? And do you think this is a very horrible, terrible way they're trying to save some money to maybe start some negotiation to get the season back starting?
It's funny because, like I said, I was reading a Sports Illustrated article and they kind of broke it down, and they would really be only saving maybe about a couple $100,000, which, if you're looking at it from the grand scheme of things, is nothing. Mm-hmm. So it's just so silly to me. When I heard that, I'm like, we were asking for minor leaguers to be paid maybe just a living wage as a normal human, and you now want to take some away. And then were they have any plans to pay the other ones respectively? Probably not. So it really was just kind of like a slap in the face proposal, in my opinion. Johnny, what do you think?
It's definitely a slap in the face. I mean, unless you're a bonus baby going in the first 3 rounds, you are struggling. We see the stories of 6 minor league players on air mattresses in like a single bedroom living during the season. They're finally having to provide some kind of housing, which is great. They don't provide food. They don't provide anything to these minor leaguers. It is insane. They're treated like the worst workers in the world. They are professional athletes. They are in the top 1% of the 1% of baseball players in the world, even if they never sniff the major leagues. And the fact that they are treated so poorly is insane to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, the G League, NFL practice squad, the hockey practice squad, they're not making millions of dollars. They're making $40,000, $50,000. But compared to $7,000 for a year for a AA player, it's insane, and it's not right at all.
No, it makes no sense. And then if you think about it, even when they make it to the major leagues, if they do, their first couple years, they're still not getting paid that much, because that's the MLB that we love right now. Love to hate right now. It's just, yeah. Kelly.
Well, in hopes of a season starting relatively soon, Johnny, what are your best predictions for this season, if we even get the chance to have one?
I don't think baseball can do without having a season. My biggest concern is once you miss one game, once you have to delay or just cancel one game, it's very easy for that to snowball and us end up playing a 140, maybe 100 game season, which is terrifying because it sucks and baseball is nice. I love baseball. I want there to be a lot of baseball played. As for the Dodgers, I think they probably should. I mean, they'll make the playoffs because they're amazing. They have a pitcher who is in limbo because he allegedly did some terrible things. I hope he's not back with the team, although I am not Dave Roberts, so that is not my choice.
Right.
Dodgers will win the World Series because they're good and I love them.
Yeah, I predict that as well. I think the Dodgers will make it back, and then I know Alex called it a Mickey Mouse ring, the one from 2 years ago, but we're going to prove that it's more than that, and I hope the Yankees get out in the first round.
You know, Alex called it a Mickey Mouse ring. The Yankees can't even win a Mickey Mouse playoff game. So
Yeah, who's the real loser? The Yankees. They suck. They're not
Always.
going to make it very far again. I don't have any predictions other than that. MVP, Shohei Ohtani probably again, because I just have to talk about that guy today. I love him. But that is all the time we have for this segment. But when we come back, we'll be joined by Johan Blanco to talk some NBA. Thank you so much, Johnny, for being on.
thank you for having me.
I'm going with Cowboys versus Giants. Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots
Oh my gosh. Oh my
God.
gosh.
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL is gonna make it happen.
Welcome back. Another NBA All-Star Weekend is in the books, and Johan Blanco is joining us today to talk all about it. Johan, how are you today?
I'm feeling groovy. You know, we're talking about NBA All-Star Weekend. You know, wasn't the best weekend, but you know, I'm here and I'm glad to be here.
Well, you look divine.
I was going to say, I have to compliment the outfit.
Stop it. Stop doing too much.
Well, let's dive in, starting with the skills contest. There were 3 teams, the Antetokounmpos featuring all 3 brothers, the Cavs featuring Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley, and the Rooks featuring Josh Giddey, Scotty Barnes, and Cade Cunningham. The Cavs started off strong, winning the first challenge and made it all the way to the final challenge, where Evan Mobley made a half-court shot in 5.5 seconds for the win. But before we talk about the winners, Johan, what happened to the Antetokounmpo brothers here?
Well, literally the entire contest, it was Giannis versus the world. I mean, everybody on that team was off except for Giannis. And it was very interesting because, yes, he struggled in the shooting contest, which was anticipated for him. I mean, he's not the strongest shooter. But in the passing and the replay, he really stepped it up. But Alex and Thanasis, I mean, what did you expect when you have Alex and Thanasis on your team? Like, you were expected to, you know, not catch a dub. Like, it was Giannis versus the world in that skills challenge. And honestly, they deserved to lose at that point.
Yeah, he was carrying that team. But let's talk about the Rooks. They came out strong right away, and I didn't kind of understand the standard set that Josh Giddey making 16 points in that shooting contest right away, but he kind of, the whole team, honestly, because then Cade Cunningham stepped up. What did you think of their performance?
I thought it was an impressive showing from them. I really wanted them to win because I'm a big fan of Josh Giddey, Scotty Barnes, and Cade Cunningham individually. although I knew they weren't going to win just because it was the Cavs team, it was the hometown team, and they have the best chemistry, and they had also the best overall players in terms of foundation and fundamentals. But it was an impressive performance. I think that it was kind of confusing. The whole format, the new format in general, I thought was kind of confusing. I really do like the head-to-head tournament better than this team format, just because it's like you do a passing challenge, you do a shooting challenge, and then you do the exact two same things in the third one. But overall, it was interesting, I would say the least.
Yeah, I definitely think it was more of one of the more interesting events of the weekend for sure. And let's talk about the Cavs. I mean, they kind of came in and, like you said, they blew it out of the water. It was theirs to win. Kelly, what did you think of them?
I mean, honestly, like Johan said, it was the chemistry. When you have the chemistry working like that on your team, you're going to win. That's how you win competitions, is with that chemistry. So I think that was what they had going for them. That was really important.
Now, let's move on to the three-point contest. Karl Anthony Towns set an NBA record with 29 points to win. Kelly, what did you think of his victory?
I think it was great. I especially liked his little shout out to Shaq at the end, telling Vegas that the odds were wrong. I always love when the odds are wrong in Vegas. I think he had a pretty crazy performance, and even when I was at work when this was going on, and my line chef told me about it, and I was pretty surprised to hear that he came out the winner. I mean, Johan, what do you think?
I definitely was surprised, but not really, because me and Gadiel Cartagena, we were talking about it early Saturday afternoon. We were talking about how, because I'm the co-host of HCF Bets, we were talking about the odds, and we were talking about how Cat was a plus 1,200 in this contest, and if you put 100 down, you would win $1,200. So me and Gadiel obviously did not put the money down. We went broke that day.
You're supposed to bet your entire life savings.
Yeah,
I know,
that?
but I've done that like 3 times, and I've gone 1 for 2, so the budget's not looking that well for me right now. But it was interesting because the way that Cat's shooting form is, it's really catered to the three-point contest because he doesn't jump very high and he doesn't move forward at all. So it's like he's able to reset in a split second, and in the three-point contest, a split second means everything. And honestly, I wasn't really surprised that he was able to win.
Yeah, and he called himself the best big man shooter after and before, and a lot of people are comparing him to Dirk, the famous Maverick. So what do you think of him calling himself that?
Well, he's definitely not the best shooter of all, or the best big man shooter of all time. That's definitely Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, don't get me wrong though. He's having an amazing season. He's shooting over 40% from 3, which is unheard of from a center. He needs to have some like significant playoff success for us to call him the greatest big man shooter of all time, because being in one playoff series does not make you anything significant. So until you're able to do it in the clutch moments, in the big time, you could be the third best big man shooter of all time.
Do you think that's possible where he's at now?
They have a good core. I think if they add a couple more veteran pieces, they could possibly be the 6th seed, but that's pretty much it.
Well, Kelly, let's move on to the dunk contest.
Well, Kayla, the dunk contest is usually one of the most highly anticipated events of All-Star Weekend, and this year it did not deliver. The New York Knicks player Obi Toppin won the title, but fans were overall unimpressed with the whole contest. One of the biggest letdowns was how many attempts it took each player to actually make the basket, and sometimes they didn't even make it. Johan, why do you think the dunk contest quality has gone down over the years? And let's not say it's just because Aaron Gordon got gypped so many times.
Hey, say what you want about this year's dunk contest, but it was terrible. It was really bad. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It was pretty bad. There was no 50s scored, and even in bad dunk contests, 50s are scored. So that's saying how, lackluster this performance was. Like, I was so tired of Jalen Green, attempting the same dunk over and over and over again just to get a 30-point score. I was mad that Juan Toscano Anderson went to the finals of the dunk contest. I was even mad that Cole Anthony dunked in Tim's. Like, bruh, your ankles are gone.
He went to the finals, and then he didn't make a basket, so it was inevitably the other.
He tried to do the Vince Carter dunk, and he didn't have enough hops to successfully do the Vince Carter dunk. So it's like, what was the whole point in attempting it?
No, it made me laugh when last year they're jumping over Taco Fall, and this year they're jumping over Andrew Wiggins, which still tall man, hard to do, but it doesn't compare. It just seems to get worse and worse every year. When was the last one that you think was the most entertaining?
So there's two that come to mind. Obviously, I think 2020 was pretty good. I think Derrick Jones Jr. and Aaron Gordon was a pretty good head-to-head dunk contest.
I don't think Aaron Gordon has ever disappointed me.
Yeah,
in the dunk
exactly. Oh, no,
contest.
2017, he was injured. He had an injured foot, so he kind of disappointed there.
It doesn't count.
But
then.
2016, obviously, that's probably like the greatest head-to-head dunk contest of all time. Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon, just took over the show and stole the show in Toronto. But overall, like, that was probably the most significant dunk contest.
Okay, so years ago, there used to be a dunk contest for athletes outside of the NBA. People like Deion Sanders and Ken Griffey Jr. showed off their dunking skills for a chance to win. Now let's say like they brought this event back. What athletes would you like to see participate, Johan? And don't just say Saquon Barkley, because I was going to say that.
Well, I mean, I would say Saquon, but I don't know how. I mean, he's kind of been injured lately, so I don't know how much hops he has left.
The leg strength, like you.
I know. I'm sorry. I
never
know.
know,
That's
you
my
never
that's my
know.
giant, but I have to be honest. But I would want to see Tyreek Hill in it. I think one, he's really short, which would be interesting in terms of his hops and his hang time, but he's also very athletic. The dude, I've seen him jump a bunch of times. I've seen him play basketball, and he's pretty decent. So that's like the one person I really want to see. I mean, and after the celebrity celebrity game, I want to see Myles Garrett as well. I mean, short guy, big buff guy. I mean, that would be a good lineup right there and then.
I was going to say the same thing, and I thought you were going to say Mike Glennon, but I'm disappointed that you didn't say it.
Kayla, we need it to be close.
Okay. Well, that is all the time we have for this segment. Thank you so much, Johan, for joining us. I want to move on to Woman of the Week. My woman this week is ELANA Myers-Taylor. After a phenomenal run in the Beijing Olympics, I just had to pick her. The 37-year-old bobsledder fought a hard journey to get to these Olympics after giving birth to her son Nico just 2 years ago. Nico was born 3 weeks early via C-section and was diagnosed with hearing loss and Down syndrome. When the chances of making it back to the Olympics seemed small, Myers-Taylor used her son as motivation to prove that you can do anything you set your mind to. On top of that, she made headlines at the start of this year's Olympics after having to give up her role as flag bearer for the opening ceremonies due to testing positive for COVID-19. After quarantining, she came back strong. She received a silver medal for the women's monobob and bronze for the two-woman bobsled. These wins made her the most decorated U.S. bobsledder of all time, the oldest American woman to win a medal in the Winter Olympics, and the most decorated black athlete in the Winter Olympics. ELANA Myers-Taylor has overcome so many obstacles to be at this Olympics and is an overall amazing athlete. It was truly inspiring to watch her compete this year. Kelly, what did you find most inspiring about her Olympic run?
Well, first of all, just all the odds she's overcame to get there, because no one thought she could. I mean, having a child is difficult enough as a normal person, and now she's an Olympic athlete and having to train and take care of her son, and not only just her son, but her son who has disabilities. And that's a whole other extra hardship that she has to deal with. But she loves her son, and she believes in hard work, and she loves her sport, and to see her persevere and just be so successful and get those wins, I know she's probably feeling so accomplished and so successful. And also just to claim the title during Black History Month as well. It is fantastic to see, and we love seeing the representation, especially in the Winter Olympics. So this was phenomenal, Kayla.
Yeah, an overall inspiring athlete. But that is all the time we have this week. Thank you so much for joining us, Johan. Thank you so much, Johnny. And we'll see you next week.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Sunday, bet your entire savings on